What do a tan leather knife sheath and genetic genealogy have in common? A chilling case of college murders in Idaho. Stay tuned. Hey, it's Emma. Feeling a mix of intrigue and unease today, because this story is important, it's heavy, and it changed how a lot of people think about safety on campus. So, let's talk. In 2022, 4 University of Idaho students, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle, were found murdered in their off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho, a tiny college town that hadn't seen a homicide since 2015. The brutality shocked the nation, and honestly, it rattled anyone who's ever called a campus house a home away from home. Let me set the scene with a quick personal moment. Years ago, I lived in this cute, slightly crooked rental with friends, the kind of place where someone always left a candle burning, and the front door was, not exactly a fortress. One night, around 2 a.m., I heard the handle jiggle, then a slow push on the door. My heart did the Olympic 100-meter dash. I grabbed a mug because I'm brave like that, and yelled a very unsexy battle cry. It turned out to be a drunk neighbor who had the wrong apartment. No harm, but the next day, that cozy house felt different. The living room wasn't just vibes and string lights anymore. It was exits and sightlines, and I slept with sneakers by the bed for weeks. Why am I telling you this? Because when a familiar place gets violated, even by a near miss, your brain rewires. For Moscow students, this wasn't a near miss. It was the worst-case scenario. Classes paused, a vigil moved indoors to the Kibbe Dome, and a lot of people left town early. Community support mattered. It always does. People cooked, hugged, prayed, and waited for answers that felt way too slow in coming. All right, let's unwrap the facts. This was a quadruple homicide in a 3-story, 6-bedroom house on a hillside. 2 rooms per floor, and a second-floor sliding door near the kitchen. The victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors, and 2 roommates survived on the 1st and 2nd floors. One of them, Dylan Mortensen, later told police she heard noises, saw a masked person in black, and locked herself in her room. A DoorDash arrived for Xana around 4 a.m. Her TikTok pinged at about 4:12. Nearby audio captured whimpering and a thud shortly after. And then, hours later, just before noon, came the 911 call. The dog was found unharmed, and there were no signs of sexual assault or restraints. It's a timeline that still makes my stomach drop. Now, who was identified? Investigators zeroed in on Brian Christopher Kohberger, a criminology PhD student at Washington State University in Pullman, which is the neighboring town across the state line, about 15 minutes away. This wasn't random internet gossip. It was a convergence of receipts. A white Hyundai Elantra on camera circling the area before 4 a.m. and then leaving around 4:20. Cell data with suspicious gaps and pings near the house in the months before and again that morning. And the big one, DNA on a tan leather knife sheath left on Madison's bed. Here's the tea on that DNA. CODIS. That's the federal law enforcement DNA database. It didn't hit. So investigators turned to investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG, where you compare a crime scene DNA profile to consumer genealogy sites to find relatives, build a family tree, and narrow suspects. Early work by Othram, a forensic genealogy lab, reportedly found only a very distant match, and the FBI then used GEDmatch and MyHeritage and found a closer relative, around 250 centimorgans, which is like a probable cousin level. That focused attention on Kohberger's family line. Side note, that IgG move drew scrutiny because Department of Justice policy favors databases where users explicitly opt into law enforcement searches. In 2024, a judge granted the defense sealed access to review the IgG process. Translation: modern forensics can be powerful, but courts want the receipts and transparency. Honestly, love that for due process. Back to the arc. In late 2022, police tracked Koberger to Pennsylvania, where they said he was wearing gloves, sorting trash into baggies, and had reportedly cleaned his car top to bottom. He was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. In 2024, a judge moved the case to Boise for a fair jury pool. In 2025, he pleaded guilty to all counts to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms without parole, plus time for burglary. Later, in 2026, he tried to withdraw the plea, which is, an uphill legal climb after waiving appeals. While all that was happening, the town was grieving. University leadership canceled classes, held a massive vigil, and eventually demolished the house. A memorial space, the Vandal Healing Garden, opened on campus in 2024, and scholarships in the victims' names were set up. These are the things that say we remember them as people, not just a headline. Okay, pause, because this next part is everything. The big unanswered question for a long time was whether the attack was targeted. Police said it looked targeted, but didn't specify who or what. And here's my take. That ambiguity is both honest and infuriating. Honest because investigators rarely lock motive early, and infuriating because our brains crave a why. We search for patterns to make horror feel containable. Was it the house? The people? A grievance? Without a clear why, fear feels borderless, and rumor culture explodes. There was also a separate rumor that Kaylee had a stalker. Moscow Police Chief James Fry said they got tips but couldn't verify anything. This is where I get spicy. Online sleuths. I get that you want to help, but doxing randoms and spinning fanfic-level theories is a public safety no-go. It drains resources and hurts real people. The department literally had to warn folks to stop harassing people tied to the case. Big yikes. Now for something different. Pop culture's role. Amazon dropped One Night in Idaho in 2025, and Netflix followed with The Idaho Murders in 2026. Documentaries like these shape the vibe of a case for years. The good, they humanize the victims and show how tech like IgG cracked it when CODIS stalled. The caution, slick editing can flatten nuance. The law and the lab work are messy in real time, and that's okay. Justice can be both methodical and imperfect. Let's dissect one last piece, the house layout, because it matters. 6 bedrooms, separate spaces, multiple entrances. It explains how an intruder could move, while some people didn't understand what was happening. It also underlines how weirdly fragile our sense of safety is. You can be feet away from catastrophe and not realize. That's not cowardice, it's human. Okay, let's move on. Next time, we're diving into the world of online sleuths and their impact on real-life investigations. Who helps, who hurts, and how to tell the difference without losing your mind. So that's the tea, folks. Stay curious and stay safe. Later.